My name's David Clark, and I am one of the 4 artists involved in making this piece called Waterfall. And the other artists are Kim Morgan, Rachelle Viader Knowles, and David Ogborn. And we came together to do this project in 2010. And it was specifically a commission from the Canadian Wildlife Foundation, who had contacted Kim and asked her if she would do something that would be a gesture that we could make in the context of the Olympics. So they were specifically wanting to do something around water and water issues, something that could be inserted into the kind of the Olympics. So Kim and I went to Vancouver and scouted out the locations and tried to imagine what that event would be kind of like. And we came up with a range of project ideas that we worked with Rachelle and David to develop. And eventually we came up with the idea of working with a vending machine because it could be sort of inserted into public space. We didn't really feel that we could do a very site-specific work, but we did want to work in public space in a certain kind of way. And in fact, that exercise generated a whole series of kind of ideas about how to work with public space. And the principle was we wanted to work with something that people would be familiar with, something that people would feel comfortable interacting with, but switch it around, make it a little strange, and insert some other kind of content into it. The idea really is to create a very simple, small interaction. Essentially, it's camouflage. We selected a machine that people are probably familiar with in public space, and then having them do a double take, so they'll look at it twice and then suddenly realize that something's quite different. Draw them in and try to decode what is really quite a simple message. Here you have an array of very simple, easily accessible water that we are all very, very used to. And you might imagine that this is a vending machine that would serve water, or bottled water or something like that. And so here you see all of the easily acquired resources of water. And as you vend them away, as you hit the different buttons and attempt to select the water, the cards will fall off and be replaced by an image that will only eventually be revealed when everything's gone. And that's an image of a waterfall, the idea of water being in nature. So we really wanted to create those 2 layers. The consumer idea of what water is, free, cheap, and then an image this is where we really gel with the Canadian Wildlife Foundation, a kind of reminder of the power of our planet's water supplies and how we should really be looking at it. It was a kind of a real appreciation of the technology of the vending machines themselves. And I'm an interactive media artist, so I've been interested in that connection that people make through machines. And of course, we're very familiar with the interface of the computer, being buttons and changing screens. And when we actually acquired the Snack Shop 4000, this old vending machine, and started to take it apart, we had this incredible appreciation of the mechanics, the electronics, and the durability that these machines kind of represented. So, essentially what we did is take the machine, rip out all of the guts, and insert a television screen here, and reprogram the controller so that it would control a computer program. And this is a 30 layers of video that get controlled through the panel here. Before we actually ripped out the machine, we actually set up and filmed the inside. This is actually a video of the inside of the machine. And these are, through the magic of video, motion-tracked cards that we then juxtaposed our video on top of. So it's quite a complicated video image to have produced. We eventually put it at Whistler, which was a skiing village by night, and then during the Olympics it was the center of quite a media storm. And we had put this machine into the media center, so there was a lot of people kind of flowing through, and it wasn't an entirely public space because it sometimes had public people flowing through it, and a lot of times it was just like people hanging out for the media. So in a certain kind of way, it got a certain kind of reaction. But since then, because it's sort of portable and can go anywhere, the Canadian Wildlife Foundation found many, many venues for it. So they've taken it to agricultural shows, they've shown it in farmers markets. They have a real good sense of where they would like to insert something like this and use it. I think in the public spaces that it's been in, like this foyer and stuff like that, it's really successful in grabbing people's attention and sort of drawing them over and having that little moment where they really kind of know what it is but don't, and then tentatively will kind of start to play with it. And we've had some very nice reactions, particularly in a farmer's market in New Brunswick. People started to insert their cards and write little comments back on it. And when we went to pick it up, they collected all of these little comments that people had made. And the people there really loved it. And it's a playful object, so I think people like that.